Hey, what's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we're bringing it back to our bi-weekly Spider-Man Rewatch Marathon with Spider-Man Homecoming, which may also be one of the films I've reviewed the most over the years on different projects. This project, however, is all about Spider-Man, specifically which might affect how this film is perceived, particularly because 1, it's an MCU film, late in the universe, and 2, this isn't even the first appearance by Tom Holland as Spider-Man, because he also showed up in Captain America Civil War, but that was not a Spider-Man movie, so I wasn't including it on this rewatch. How do things like that affect your experience with this film, though? That's the question. Or is Spider-Man's inclusion in the MCU lampooning itself? Let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, lampoon, to make the subject of a satire, aka ridicule. Spider-Man Homecoming follows Peter Parker as he tries to prove his worth to Tony Stark as an Avenger when he does mindless, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man stuff. But when he runs into an alien weapon smuggling ring headed up by the nefarious Vulture, Spider-Man takes it upon himself to stop the operation alone. So the biggest question that I had going into this film specifically was how all the MCU stuff interferes with the story. Again, I did not go back and start an MCU watch marathon. I'm only doing Spider-Man. So I was honestly really curious about if somebody who didn't care about anything MCU related but loves Spider-Man would be able to enjoy this film or not. And to be honest, I'm not actually sure. The MCU stuff is great if you're already invested in everything the Marvel Cinematic Universe is all about, but for instance, if you're, say, a Spider-Man collector, you've got a house full of Spidey comic books, novels, cartoons, movies, and you live and breathe Spider-Man and never watch the MCU films, this movie might confuse you. It has enough in there to fill in some gaps, but it doesn't feel like a standalone film. For some, that might be problematic. For me, I love the MCU, and none of that actually bothers me. But again, I can see where some people might complain. But you know what? You know when I often complain about coming-of-age films because they're not actually about anything? Well, sometimes they are. And this film is both a coming-of-age film, but it also has an actual plot. It does have that juvenile point of view where they think they're right all the time and they have to learn a life lesson. But instead of just doing that from beginning to end, they included a story goal too. Stop the Vulture. The best coming-of-age films are coming-of-age films that are about something. Stand By Me. That was one of the best coming-of-age films ever made, and it was about trying to find that dead body. It's no different here. All they did by adding a story goal was give everybody a purpose, give everyone a narrative function for being there, and that's one of the strongest elements of the film. Past that, you're looking at one of the best overall characters in Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Tobey Maguire was great as Peter Parker. Garfield was a great Spider-Man, and Tom Holland is like a weird mixture / cocktail of the two, bringing the best of both worlds to one character. I feel like the extremes are still missing on both ends, but that's okay, because at the end of the day, I like his Spider-Man, and I like his Peter Parker. What I don't love is kind of his suit. I don't know if it's a Disney thing, if it's a lack of specific lines on the suit or what, but there's something too smooth about that suit. Something too fake. Also, when you think too deeply into the suit, the fact that it's basically an Iron Man suit is kind of cheap, and it takes away from the simplicity of who his character typically is. On the other hand, making it an Iron Man suit opens up doors and possibilities of where they can take the suit in the future, as seen from Infinity War and Far From Home, and that means originality. That means potential, and I'm completely open to that. Let's talk about the Vulture for a second. Michael Keaton in the role was a perfect choice. However, when you take him out of the film and just look at him as a character on paper, he's not that great or memorable past the Vulture wings. He's just a criminal. He's a weapons smuggler. That's it. In the same breath, think about Norman Osborn in the Maguire films. You've got Willem Dafoe opposite of Tobey Maguire. And there's this scene in that first movie where the family is sitting at the dinner table and they're not in costume, they're not in their secret identities, they're just people. And that's when Dafoe's character realizes who Peter is, and there's this absolutely terrifying character in Norman Osborn. Even though Peter could probably just pummel him right then and there, Dafoe's presence was amazingly tense. Not so with Keaton. Not really. In the cartoon, Vulture had one extra ability, and that was sucking the youth out of people and becoming younger. He did not have that in this movie. Had he, though, that would have probably been what I was looking for to make him an unforgettable character. That would have been the missing link. Overall, though, I'd say this is a great film and certainly a lot of fun if you stop bickering like me. Let's take a look at that final score. My unbiased score sees that the film did a lot right from a technical vantage point, and it is 88%. I'm only slightly disappointed with a few things here and there, like the lack of youth sucking from the vulture and the smooth design of the Spider-Man suit. So my bias score is actually 84%, bringing it all to a final score of 86%, 86 out of 100 possible stars, granting it the letter grade of B+. Which, by the way, is the same score that I gave The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Guys, let me know what you thought about Spider-Man Homecoming in the comments down below, and what you think about Tom Holland. Let me especially know if you think this really works as a standalone Spider-Man film or not. As for YouTube, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button if you like this review and would like to see some others like it. Hit the thumbs up button because that always helps out my channel. And don't forget about the little bell icon because that helps notify you when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out!